Hi, my name is Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. Today we are at the Chapel of Transfiguration in Grand Teton National Park. The Chapel of Transfiguration in Grand Teton National Park is probably one of the prettiest, if not the best views outside of a church in America. When you go inside the chapel, there's an incredible view of Grand Teton with a cross just sitting right at the altar. I mean, it's just utterly incredible. I believe it's an Episcopalian church here, and it was built way back when you could actually build stuff in the park and people didn't mind. But part of the experience of the church was that people in the local area, they came to service, and I'm not exactly sure about the history other than that people would come from far and wide. Now, whether you were actually of that denomination or not, I'm not sure, because one of the challenges in Jackson Hole and Grand Teton, which wasn't Grand Teton at the time, and the entire valley here, is that getting to church was a major ordeal. Driving 20 miles was, like a major problem, because you weren't driving your car at 55 miles an hour 100 years ago. You were driving your horse. Now, 20 miles to a horse is like an entire day travel. I mean, that's a long way. So going to a church service was actually a big deal. And this happened all throughout the valley. And this is called what's called Jackson Hole. The town is called Jackson, but this is Jackson's Hole because originally the fur trappers in here, there's Wilson's Hole, Davy, Jackson. I can't remember what the Idaho side was, but the hole meant that the area is surrounded by mountains, so it creates a hole. And when you look in the park map, the 3D map in the visitor center, the Craig Thomas Visitor Center, you'll instantly see, oh, that's why they call it a hole. Perfect timing. So some of you can come in here and ring the old bell of the church, and there's a beautiful walkway in here, and I'll take you in a moment and actually roll through the filming inside, and that way I'm not going to talk inside and you can just enjoy the view in there. But this is, I wouldn't say a secret location because tour buses pop in here all the time, but like a classic park sort of experiences, almost everything is very well signed in the park. So just after you come in the south entrance at the Moose Junction, you pass Dornan's, you go past the visitor center, you go in through the park entrance, and then boom, I don't know, like a 1/10 of a mile, less than that, you come to a sign that says Chapel of Transfiguration, turn right. People, turn right. You definitely want to do this. You come into this parking lot here, you look around. I mean, this is the best time to come to Grand Teton, is in the fall, where the beautiful fall colors are coming out. The crowds aren't so bad. This is just way, way better. Now, the crowds aren't as bad in, say, compared to Yellowstone or old Smoky Mountain National Park or anything like that, but it gets pretty crowded in Grand Teton. You can almost always find parking in the Chapel of Transfiguration parking lot, but just as something to consider. Another unique thing about this chapel is I work for a publishing company, and one of the authors unfortunately passed away a couple years ago, and they actually had this service inside this chapel. So if you contact the park and through the Episcopal Church, you can actually rent out this for, I've never seen a wedding done here, but I know there've been memorial services here because I've actually attended them. So that was it was a sad experience, but it was actually really special because, I mean, where else in the country? There's actually the Chapel of the Sacred Heart farther north in the park, but the Chapel of Transfiguration, I think, is by far more popular just because it's a little more accessible, more people know about it. So you walk in here, and the nice thing is you can totally walk around the grounds. I mean, people, they bust out with their phones. I mean, crazy photography here. A couple little secrets here is if you actually stand outside the buck rail fence, so this is what's called a buck rail fence, you can actually get some more unique photos than just the straight on shot of the chapel. I mean, interestingly, the walkway to the chapel, and the cross and the Grand don't quite align. I'm not sure if that's particularly intentional, or you can just enjoy seeing both, who knows. But you can stand there along the walkway like you've seen people behind me do and get that perfect picture of the cross with the mountain. So, I mean, just totally spectacular. There are restrooms here too. So after you've driven around, you're doing the thing, and if you go into the parking lot and you head directly away from the chapel, let me flip the camera around and I'll show you. So just telling you. If you go over there, there's a men's and women's restroom. So if the call of nature hits you and you're dying, you can take care of that so you don't have to cry in the parking lot. It's not visible here, so just to be mindful, there are no restrooms in the chapel, and there's no smoking. This is a wood building. It's super old. No fires, no smoking, no e-cigarettes, none of that stuff, please. This is a very historical structure. Also, when you come to this parking lot, you can watch another video I've done of Meaner's Ferry. This is actually the access point to Meaner's Ferry, where you park in the lot, most people come, check out the chapel, and then they're gone and out of here. But they're missing a really interesting historic part of the park, and that's at Meaner's Ferry. I'll put a link to the video down in the description here so you can actually get a chance to check that out. And local secret, if you come during the summer and the little general store at Meaner's Ferry is open, they have little ginger snap cookies that are fresh baked right there. And as far as I know, they still give them away for free. And I mean, obviously don't be rude and take a handful of those suckers, but man, fresh baked ginger snap cookies on a cool morning during the summer after you checked out the chapel and checked out the ferry, way cool experience. Highly, highly recommended. So definitely a bonus local secret on that one. What else can I tell you about this? I mean, you could, that's one of the things in the park. I mean, you don't want to step on things, you don't want to get on the buck rail because you can break the fencing material. One interesting thing too is, why do the fences all throughout Wyoming look like this rather than just staked in and barbed wire? Well, to get into the ground most of the time of the year, the ground's frozen solid like a rock. The ground is also very rocky here. It's this glacier moraine stuff. I don't know, I'm not a geologist, but one person told me that a lot of times when you put fence posts in the ground, for some reason the soil in the entire region just rots fence posts out and destroys them. I don't know if it's a function of the alkalinity, the acidity, whatever it is, but boy, these buck rail fences where you've got a buck, which is this little cross steel here, you can see that there, and the rail is, well, of course a rail, and then you can actually put fences up much quicker. Yeah, it does take a lot more material, but you don't have to try and pound posts into the ground, get through the rock. You don't have that thing rot, because the winters are real severe here. What's severe? People say, ooh, it's cold, it's 5 degrees. Try minus 35 in winter, and that's pretty regularly. It's not uncommon to have a week, 2 or 3, and up to 40 days where the high is below 0. Yeah, pretty chilly. That's also, you can actually come to Grand Teton in the winter. You can only drive up to Taggart Lake Trailhead, but this area is blocked off, so you can't drive to the parking lot because apparently, I don't know if the park doesn't have the budget to plow anymore, or man, and who knows. But in any case, when you drive by, there's this huge snow berm in the way. So you can park over at the the post office at Moose, and then you can snowshoe or ski over here and poke around all you want. I think the chapel's actually locked during the time. It's been a while, and every year the park changes how they do things, or maybe not. Who knows? I don't want to speak for them, but you can actually still get over here in the winter. You just got to be prepared to travel in snow. I've actually done it. Snowshoed through here, skied through here. Gosh dang, and then there's nobody here. It's way cool experience, so highly recommended on that. During the summer here, quite busy, but it's mid-September right now, and the trees are just turning. Unfortunately, one of the things about those aspens behind the chapel here is quite a few of them died off. And Grover Ratliff, in his book Roaming Wild, he has this spectacular photo of those aspens when they're still alive and just beautifully fanned out in fall color. So I'll put a link to the book below here so you can actually see what that's like. Man, it is incredible. Other than that, I mean, just this whole area circled. It's very common. I've seen deer here. I don't think I've seen pronghorn. Bison might cruise through here, but probably not. Bear, I know there was a bear a couple days ago just cruising around here with their cub. Ooh, be careful about that. Elk quite routinely come through here. So when you'll be photographing away and enjoying it, and all of a sudden, little wildlife cruises right through. So that's one of the fun parts of this park, is just, it's like a zoo. It is not a petting zoo though. Do not pet those animals. You'll see some tragedy, but the Chapel of Transfiguration is well worth stopping in. Just pop in, even if you're not religious. It's still an incredibly beautiful building. Highly recommended. My name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. Thank you very much for enjoying the Chapel of Transfiguration with me. Please like and comment on my video and subscribe to my channel to help me out. Thank you.